I want to spend my life savings on this. I want to abandon all financial responsibility and dump it in here.
So you just graduated high school. You just bought a 2019 430i Grand Coupe for $25,000 with 26% interest you pay.
Okay, so I think I'm done with this odd sort of bit that I started on my channel where I was slowly adding more and more of the lava lamps in the background. I can't even point correctly, right there. I just wanted some sort of RGB background that so many other YouTubers have, like those colored hexagons so many like gaming YouTubers have, but something a little different. But now I'm $125 into this bit and a whole row of the shelf is covered in lava lamps, so I thought it'd be very odd a year or two down the road, some new viewer sees one of my videos and I end up having like 35 lava lamps in the background. I'd look like an insane person. So I think 5 is the cutoff. I think we're all done with this. Maybe it is my form of doom spending because that's what we're talking about today. We're not starting off 2025 any better than we were last year. People are spending because they don't have any hope, apparently. Maybe it's just excessive spending irresponsibly. You could be the judge of that from the clips we're going to see in this video, because I have many of them along with some of your comments and your experiences from previous videos. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But we're going to start off with a clip that I think is definitely taken to heart and is completely blown out of proportions.
When you get to my age at 46, and I've been going to funerals for the last couple months of people passing away suddenly under the age of 60, it makes you realize that you really only have today. And while I was at an event today, I know a lot of people in my life that save a lot of money, which is great, and you need to be responsible. But when you pass away and people are standing in your visitation line, you know what they're not going to say about you? Hey, you know what he was or she was? They were a great saver. So you need to be responsible, but if you have some disposable income and you want to go travel or do something, go do it, because you don't know when it's going to be over.
Before I say anything about it, the top liked comment of this video is exactly the excuse for so many around my generation to irresponsibly spend. You're right, I'm gonna go buy that Porsche GT3. Completely blown out of proportions. What he said in the video is pretty reasonable. I get it, nobody knows how long they're actually going to be on the planet, so taking that trip or vacation when you have extra money, could be a better thing for some people instead of it just sitting in a bank account. But that mentality has turned into just spending every little penny on now, the present, right now. I want some item or product or vacation immediately with no long-term goals in mind, and it's just blamed on how difficult the economy is right now. And I'm not saying they're wrong. The economy is still pretty difficult and has been for years now, but it seems like some have used that excuse for such a long time that it's just turned into irresponsible spending. We have a comment from one of you guys. I work in HELOC loans, and let me tell you, people get them for vacations and debt consolidation more than any other reason in the past 5 years. How many times have you seen this type of clip coming up? They wanted to celebrate, they wanted to spend some money, get something nice and fancy, and then it ends up, they can't really actually afford it.
2019 430i Grand Coupe you financed for $25,000 at 26% interest about 6 months ago.
I just graduated high school like a year ago, and then my mom wanted to move to Florida, and then started working. Got my first car, which was that BMW. I was on myself, so it was a mistake getting that, obviously, because they played me. But I basically was 13,000 flipped.
Like, you just got a job in Jersey. How much is it paying a month?
Like 2,300.
So $2,300 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm guessing you're 18, 19 years old?
Yeah.
All right. So there's some hard truths. You made a commitment and you stuck to a car for, 6 years? You did 72 months, or how many months did you do?
Yeah, around that time.
All right, so 72 months for a car that's already having coolant issues. To be honest, the dealership didn't probably play you because you had to have seen the interest rate, the payment, and all that, right? And
yeah, but I didn't know what none of that really meant. I went with my aunt, and she was supposed to be a support for me and whatever, but she ended up leaving me at the dealership. She didn't really care about the numbers and my payments or anything.
I got you. But also right now, this is a lesson that you got to care what these things cost, right? Not so much depend on everybody else.
Honestly, not uncommon of a problem to have. Somebody just got out of high school. They want a nice fancy car. It's always the BMW, the Mercedes, the Audis. $800 a month, which means insurance turns that into $1,000 a month. Not paying attention to any of the issues that happen with BMW and the upkeep and maintenance on top of the 26% interest, and then passes the buck to her aunt. And that's the reasoning why she's getting screwed. It's not her fault. It is funny though, when we see all of this spending on luxury items. It's never an economy car when somebody has a whole ton of money underwater in a Corolla. It's always a Beamer or something like that. This comment, I mean, goes perfectly with this video. It's pretty crazy. I lived my life in my 20s and 30s. Now I'm in my early 40s and have a household income that puts me above 80% of the US population, and I'm trying to squirrel away every cent I can to catch up. Oh well, I guess I hope my kids will take care of me. I guess this is the mentality for everybody, just spending everything they make. Because of course the excuse for doom spending is, I don't know, there's no way I'd ever be able to afford a house or have a family or any of that, so I'm just going to live right now and buy that Louis Vuitton purse and then go on the cruise, or expensive dinners, anything that they really wouldn't be able to afford. Because now I guess it's the children's duty to take care of the parents. I honestly just don't really know.
It's not normal to consume as much as we do in America. You really don't need to have multiples of everything. One of everything is fine. One of the things about TikTok that has happened a lot in the last couple of years is showing a lot of overconsumption, shopping hauls, people having things in their homes and then us comparing our homes, when in reality, it's just not necessary. Going and having your drawers filled to the brim with extras after you're running out of something is not normal. You can use something until it runs out completely. Candles, products, anything, you don't need multiple. It's gonna help a lot with saving and a ton with budgeting. And I know shopping can be a fun hobby, but it's not going to help you reach your goals, and you're only gonna end up spending money that you wouldn't normally spend, but you're being influenced.
And the more we keep looking at social media and what it has truly become in 2025, which many creators and channels have just become one big advertisement, it starts shifting from the excuse of, oh, I'm doom spending because there's no future for me. I can't have a house. I won't be able to get a really good job with good pay. I don't care. I'm just going to do everything right now, to trying to live a lifestyle that very few could afford on the planet, only the genuinely wealthy, because that's what we see on our phones and our TVs and the computer screens all day, every day. We've become obsessed with overconsumption of convenience. It's amazing what people view as needs now when they're massively in debt. And we have another comment from one of you guys just like it. I think the doom spending argument is a bunch of BS. Gen Z isn't buying expensive things they don't need because I'll never be able to afford a house. They do it because they want to, and that's what they see people maybe around their age. You've seen it on every social media platform. There's some random 18-year-old that came out of nowhere, absolutely exploded, and now has millions of dollars and is able to drive around in a whole bunch of Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and you feel bad about yourself because you're not that person, or maybe you're older than him and he has so much more than you. Then you start comparing yourself and buying things you really can't afford. At the time of purchase, they're not thinking about what they can and can't afford. The only thing they're thinking is, this is in my possession now and I don't want to let it go. Yeah, it's the dopamine, but they're only buying on impulse, nothing more. And the whole may as well spend money if I can't buy a house argument is just a scapegoat. And that definitely ties into a video a long time ago with the girl math. This one right here for a $10,000 bag. And if you're doing this type of mental gymnastics to try to technically afford a bag in your mind, that means you definitely can't afford the bag.
No, I know. So $27 a day.
Yeah, for a year.
Really?
A $10,000 Bottega bag that you're gonna use every day. It's $27.
And then after a year, it's free. It's actually really cheap when you think about it that way. If we could only have a payment plan of $27 a day, and why do you think Klarna and Afterpay are so popular right now? Another comment from one of you guys, I will just say that it isn't just doom spending, but the treat yourself and you deserve it culture that has everyone spending their money on anything they happen to like even a little bit. And if you're just scrolling nonstop throughout the day and getting hit with these types of videos all the time, it'll end up making you want to spend more money.
Some people are just built different. I'm not a car person. So instead of a $4,000 Lambo payment, I prefer $4,000 David Yurman cufflinks. Instead of $250 Prada sunglasses, I prefer $250 neckties. Instead of $15,000 Rolex, I prefer $15,000 Birken bags. Everybody's got their thing.
And these types of videos just work in the algorithm. This particular guy I think is pretty funny. He does seem to be kind of insecure because there's a lot of pushback in the comments and he's just going right back at him, back and forth. I mean, you could see right here, Real Wealth doesn't flaunt it ever. And then he just starts listing a whole bunch of super, super famous people like Floyd Mayweather, Paris Hilton, who their entire identity is basically having a whole bunch of money now. And he just keeps going. He replies to almost anybody who says something on these videos. It is kind of odd, but this hits the algorithm. And if you use this as entertainment for hours on end throughout the day, whether you think about it or not, this starts changing your mentality. All of the super expensive luxury items that were honestly supposed to be for the actual top 1%, the people who have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. They could just throw it out the window. It doesn't matter, is now being shoved in all of our faces on a daily basis for the normal middle class. And I guess that means we're supposed to buy it as well.
This Birken bag cost you $38,000 in the boutique. But what is the real cost in factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you step by step.
So this is probably one of the purses or bags you've heard about. It is as expensive as getting a Corolla or a Camry, and again is normally meant for people who are so unbelievably wealthy. Of course, it's just a status symbol to show how much money you have, but especially in this video, you can actually see what it's worth versus what they sell it for. I've made separate videos just talking about luxury in general. Dior bags, I think, are made for $98 and are sold for like $2 grand. I think Armani bags were around $200 to make and they were sold for like $1,500. Every one of these luxury companies are the same anyway. You're just paying for the brand, not really the quality anymore. And even with the top of the line, most expensive bag that everybody wants right now, you could see the price here.
The total amount of cost will be $1,400 USD. So you can see more than 90% of the price you paid is not actually for the entity of this bag, not for the material, but for the logo.
And because of how popular this is to look like you have a whole bunch of money instead of actually having money, Walmart skirts around copyrights fairly often with many of their products. And recently, Walmart has a sort of Birkin bag that you could get right now, and it is very popular with people. So there are tons of unboxing videos online showing all of the actual normal people getting this super expensive looking bag. And that's kind of the only reason why it's popular. Now, you could have your own opinions. Maybe you like the way the bag looks. More people like the way that it just symbolizes wealth and are completely fine getting the rip-off versions. I mean, if you look into any of the replica markets for any item you could think of, it is super, super popular right now. And it's because of how much people want to feel like they have money. So they're doom spending immediately on super expensive vacations, even though they only make maybe the median middle class salary, but they walk in with a brand new BMW lease and a Dior bag. And it's just completely blown out of proportion, especially with social media over the past few years. There's one clip here that's a little skit, but is 100% true. The comments don't really make it much better. Just bought a new bag. Check engine light on. I just bought a Gucci bag and I'm eating buttered pasta for dinner. I don't care. Now, this comment that I found on one of my previous videos, we just have to go over it first. Nothing wrong with doom spending and living in the moment and YOLO mindset. That's not the best start for this comment, but do not expect some type of safety net or government savior to rescue you in your old age. I get that being 65 seems like an eternity from now, but you either struggle now or in the older years. Basically, if your parents aren't wealthy and can't give you a large inheritance later, you'd be effed. So the first sentence kind of just gets blown out of the water with the entire rest of the paragraph. Seems like there is something wrong with doom spending, living in the moment, and the YOLO mindset. So I honestly don't really know how to feel with this comment. I don't know. But there's a whole bunch of clips online with, the relatable post or people just talking about them doom spending and making excuses of why it's okay.
I don't want to be. I want to spend my life savings on this. I want to abandon all financial responsibility and dump it in here.
I saw an article recently saying the health of the consumer right now isn't really real because we're all just doom spending. So I don't know. I know I've been doing that. You've been doing that?
If you are engaging in what I'm calling doom spending at the moment, I just want to let you know that that's really, really okay. Firstly, with so much pain and hurt going on in the world, it's really, really normal to seek comfort and relief and escapism in any way that you can. Secondly, the confronting and in many ways dystopian reality that we're experiencing around us can make the concept of any sort of future planning seem completely pointless. And so it's really normal to sabotage our goals just to cope.
We have another comment here. I had to divorce my wife because she trashed our lives doom spending. I was the opposite. I had so much more financial freedom since I became single. Be careful who you marry. I hate spending money. I obsess over tracking investments and have doom spending PTSD. So let alone doom spending destroying your financial future and any sort of savings or safety net, emergency fund, you name it, in your life. It could also affect other aspects. You got divorced because you started spending all of the family's money. All to just say you wanted to live in the moment. You wanted to feel good and have that luxury influencer type of lifestyle when you had no business living like that.
I flew my kids and my mom to Korea for the entire summer in 2022, and that was extremely expensive. I think flights alone were like $8,000.
Not usually something that just someone in the military could just randomly afford, especially since that's more than a month of your income.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It was really expensive, for
It was
sure.
really dumb.
Well, yes, but at that time...
How much did you spend total on that trip?
About $15,000.
Ooh.
It was...
Yeah, we're talking like... Okay.
Yeah, I ran out of savings. And
Why?
Because I was using like my income and like whatever I couldn't pay with my income, I would pull it out of the savings account.
This is why we budget.
Yeah.
If you were draining from your savings, you were obviously spending too much and you didn't recognize that?
Memories.
We couldn't afford.
It was worth it.
It, like, mathematically was not, but sure.
Memories are priceless as long as you're not going into debt to get them, because that is a huge excuse to doom spend. I want the memories. I want all the vacations and having fun going out partying. I don't want $1 million when I'm on my deathbed at 80, especially older people saying, you know, your life goes by in a blink of an eye and you snap your fingers and it's been 20, 30 years. But I don't know about you. We're at the beginning of 2025. Just about 5 years ago was the beginning of COVID. You could have honestly told me that it was like 10 or 15 years ago. The past 5 years have been so long in my mind that I'm not 100% on the boat where time flies super fast. Maybe other people feel like that. I just think that I've done so much in just the past 5 years that spending money on every possible memory that you can make as quickly as possible just really doesn't resonate with me. Maybe it does for others. I'm just not on that bandwagon. We have another comment from one of you guys. I'm Gen Z and I somehow ended up doing the opposite. I'm more of a doom saver. I hate spending money on things I don't find value in, and I guess that's just why I don't understand it, at least maybe with my own experiences, because in the past 5 years, I have decided to work for myself. And I guess because of that, that has turned me into a very risk-adverse person, possibly because self-employment is not a steady stream of income. Of course, I'm not getting a check every week or bi-weekly anymore. So this is all on me now, and because of that, I try to save as much as humanly possible, because if any of this goes away, I could still have money saved up, and I'm not just completely screwed. But I guess that's just not how some people work. But it is nice to see that others are starting to realize how bad their spending habits are and trying to change it for the better.
I have been spending way too much money for way too long and I'm over it. First order of business was to unsubscribe from all store emails and texts. Seeing promotions for sales and just new arrivals always prompted my desire to shop and made me feel like I needed things that if I didn't even see it or know that it existed, I wouldn't feel like I needed it because I don't need it. I love social media. I love to use it for work and I love to be a user of social media, but that doesn't mean that everyone that I follow is a healthy follow. I thought long and hard about the people that I follow, and if I just follow them because I love to watch them shop and unbox in hauls, it's not really a healthy follow for me, so I had to unfollow them for the time being. Also, no alcohol for the following month because I feel like I've been drinking way more than I normally do, and it's not even coming from a place of I want to drink. I'm just drinking because it's around me versus really having a conversation with myself and being like, oh, do I really want this?
So the second half of that clip, real quick, I think is something that's not really talked about as much, but alcohol is not cheap, especially if you're in a social situation in that same bubble of doom spending, going out to the bars, hanging out with your friends, being in the moment right now all the time, especially on vacations. The upcharge for just a single drink will be insane. So that definitely takes a chunk of money out of everybody's wallet. But the first half, I think, is a large contributor to doom spending. So many of us just find content that is one big ad entertainment now. So if you see that all the time, that's the people who you're following and seeing what their life is like, it makes you want to do it. I'm not trying to start anything with other types of content creators, but it might not be the best thing if you watch somebody day in, day out, get all these try-on hauls or unbox this new tech item. Here's my giant car collection of all these super expensive vehicles. No matter how much you want to say it doesn't affect you, it does in the end, and you'll compare yourself no matter what.
About 10 years ago this weekend, I was arrested for DUI. And this process has taught me more about my finances than anything else in life. It taught me that I was the creator of every problem that I was encountering in life. It was no one else's fault but me. And it taught me that I should never become arrogant about the way that I treat my money or the way that I treat addiction in my life. The most dangerous sentence you could ever tell yourself is, that doesn't apply to me, especially with finances. When I had to go to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, this was the biggest thing that they preach, and I was so easily able to apply that to the way that I treated my money. Now it's been over 10 years and I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I had to claw myself out of over $10,000 in credit card debt, and most of it at almost 30% interest rates. Because it turns out that all of the personal financial rules that I thought was dumb, like you have to bring your lunch to work, you can't be overspending on dumb stuff, all of these rules also applied to me. I didn't think so before I got arrested, but I know that now. There's not a single problem in my life that I'm not going to blame myself for first, especially when it comes to finances. I create all of my own problems. Do not ever think that a personal financial rule does not apply to you or that you're not susceptible to addiction in some way, shape, or form. The choice is yours and only yours. Choose wisely.
And what we've seen scattered across almost all of my financial videos is that accountability is a hard thing to come by right now. And like I said, it's not like the economy is all roses and sunshine right now. I know it's bad out there, but the way that you choose to react to it can make or break you. If you get upset and then think that you're never going to be able to afford anything and just start spiraling out of control, now you're just locked in your ways, digging yourself a deeper hole. As I said before, that's what I hope these videos help others realize. Crazy stories, crazy situations that other people have been in, their mistakes, and what you could do to avoid them. Get yourself ahead of the game and reach your goals, whether it is just a plain American dream that, even though it seems more and more out of reach, can still be accomplished if you know what you're doing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's all I got for you guys today. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.